I just met with her, like I just came from meeting with her. So, that's news to me. That's the one from Hudson. Thank you both. Oh. Yes, they had court for that today.
Where did you get it?
I doubt.
I was like,
Yeah, see?
yes, she did have that.
I'll give you that. But you're the one here.
Yeah, I don't,
You
yeah.
all set? All right, we're at 5:30. I'd like to call tonight's regular Board of Education meeting to order for Wednesday, May 13th, here in the boardroom. Can I have a roll call, please, Tammy?
Jacqueline Grumler. Here. Mike Cornisher.
Here.
Paul Cruz.
Here.
John Smith.
Here.
Brett Waller.
Here.
Nubs Ashbeck.
Here.
Amber DeRizzo.
Here.
Kevin Blake.
Here. You would please rise and face the flag for a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Merrill Area Public Schools Board of Education meeting. MAPS respects the role that our elected board members serve and the function of our board meetings. Board members and administrators are committed to working collaboratively to provide our students with the highest levels of achievement. This meeting is a formal event, and professional conduct is the expectation for all in attendance. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Murray. On our agenda next is public comment to the board. Do we have anyone looking to make public comments to the school board this evening? Come up to the microphone. Do we get any? We do have a pink slip we'll ask you to fill out, but by all means, hand that to Tammy and be seated at the front table and address the board accordingly. Public comment tonight. We have Chris Brown. Topic is a position non-renewal. Go ahead, Chris.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to thank you for letting me speak here tonight. My name is Christine Brown, or as I'm known to the children, Miss Brown. I am a special education aide at the middle school, and I've been there since 2018 full-time, and a year and a half prior was subbing mostly at the middle school. I've gone to every meeting, MSI, and training that has been offered or required. I have received every certificate that was offered and every license required. But on March 20th of this year, I was on FMLA due to my father on his deathbed, which he passed on the 28th. I was informed at that time that I was not going to be renewed for the next school year. When I asked why, they told me it was based on the data outline that they collected, including evaluations. Although this is not a performance-based non-renewal, it is budgetary, that I am the one being recommended for non-renewal. When I asked, even though I have been there a lot longer than others, I was told yes, that in the employee handbook, they do not use seniority as a factor. They use other factors, performance, the best needs of the school, and the best needs of the district. So that is why I was selected for non-renewal for next school year. But if a position becomes available before the end of the school year, I can be put into that position. But if it's after the school year, I can reapply. Because I am not being let go because of performance, I am being let go because of budget. I was told over and over that it was not based on my performance, it was budgetary. Well, when a person is dealing with a parent that's on their deathbed, and then to get news like this, it is very hard to handle more than one thing, and to have a clear mind is totally out of the question. So I was confused on the exact reason why it was me. So I asked in an email that I sent out to Mr. Murray, Ms. Soberg, Ms. Schultz, Mr. Lemons, and Mr. Blake. In that email, it was painted a completely different reason. Although it was still called budgetary, it was also told that I didn't have as many qualifications as the other aides. The email said, this was an organizational determination based on the needs of the building. The administration conducted a holistic review that evaluated the collective skill certifications, specialized training, and student continuity requirements of the entire team. The determination was based on which staffing configuration best meets the operational and budgetary needs of the district moving forward, rather than a single performance evaluation or a specific year of service. Well, the only thing that I was working on at that time was the ACT Worked Keys test. I'm the type of person who likes to study for my tests and get the best score that I can possibly get. And at the time of my father's stroke, I had one more test to take, which was the workplace documentation test, which since I got back from FMLA, I finished that test with a 6. And if you don't know, they go up to 7. So I earned a platinum certificate and 2 gold certificates, a platinum for my math score of 7, and the 2 gold certificates for my literacy with a 6 and workplace documents with a 6. There were a few people who needed to take the work keys test. Well, when these tests came out, we were not required to take them because of the position and age we were with. With all of this being said, why have I been allowed to work at MAPS for 9 years if I don't have the qualifications for this position as a paraprofessional? Nothing was ever said that I didn't have the qualifications for this position, let alone the 9 years I worked as a paraprofessional for a preschool, pre-K at a private school. I love working with children and helping them grow and learn in everything from school education to human education, respect for others and respect for yourself, independence, politeness, and compassion. I feel that in the years that I have been here, I have been a very loyal asset to the district with the work that I have been doing and the volunteering of my time, like helping at school dances, band concerts, choir concerts, or just staying to lend a helping hand to someone who needed it, whether it be a student or a coworker. I feel that I have been targeted by the principal because I do not see eye to eye with her on many things. She's not really cared for me because I am a rule follower. She didn't like that I was doing what I had been doing since I started, and I was following the handbook. With that being said, I'd like to challenge you to find out if I'm really not qualified for being a paraprofessional, and if other paraprofessionals really do have more and better qualifications than I do, because I really do feel like I am being discriminated against because of my values and my beliefs. Thank you for your time and for listening, and I hope that you will think about what I have said today.
Any board
And-
members have any clarifying questions? Otherwise, I'll thank Christine for her time. Thank you for your
I
time
do
this
have some
evening.
papers that I thought for the board,
Okay.
of just a few of the examples.
Why don't we hand them to Tammy and
Tammy.
we'll distribute them accordingly.
Thank you.
Any other pink forms for public comment floating around? Then we will move on. The board has some recognition this evening. I see some people anxiously awaiting. So the board is proud to recognize our outstanding student athletes. We have some of them with us. Some have been named to the 2026 Wisconsin Wrestling Association Academic All-State List for their excellence both on the mat and in the classroom. I'm going to read through the whole list, although everyone's not able to attend this evening. We have Brock Suhaki, first team sophomore, Remington Skick, first team as a junior, Noah Klug, honorable mention senior, Josh Gustum, honorable mention senior, Kaylin Allen, second team senior, Abby Krieger, second team junior, Evelyn Reinhardt, second team freshman, Addison Clark, honorable mention senior, Carolyn Durbin, honorable mention senior, and Kendall Klug, honorable mention as a junior. So congratulations to all of the ones mentioned, and especially those here tonight. If I could take a picture with those here this evening, I'm going to give Coach Suhaki some certificates to pass out. Once we take a picture, Coach will join us in the photo. Then I'm going to put him on the spot to say a few words. Normally I'd pick on Brock or Remington. You know, there's still a chance, but I'm kind of warning him if you see what I'm doing there, Remington. Yeah.
Abby, I didn't ask to say it. I think Abby's is the last
Brian, if you'd say a few things about our student athletes.
Well, it's an incredible group. You know, to make All-State, they have to have a 3.75 or higher GPA to get into that, even to get honorable mention. And they do it by different grade levels and things like that. So, you know, some of it's based on their athletic ability and the sport itself, but a lot is on the academics. And we have 4 here. There's 9 or 5 more, I think. There's a lot more. 6 more here, and they do an awesome job. We have a lot of good student athletes, and very proud of these guys. You know, it shows on the mat because they know they compete well. They know what they're supposed to be doing, but they're also very studious and very good in the academics. So nice job.
Congratulations. That is quite the achievement and quite the leaders, as it said, on and off the mat. Proud of all of you and coaches and parents alike. So thank you for being great examples. Tonight, our next recognition, and this is always bittersweet, that departing student board representative. We want to thank Parker Wagner for everything she's done and brought to the table, and we look forward to Eric being here for another year of service and banter. But your voices, perspective, and leadership have been incredibly valuable, and we're proud of the thoughtful way you've represented your peers, community at the school. Thank you for your commitment for making a difference here at MAPS and with the school board. So thank you, guys. Oh, we do. Anything you'd like to share before your actual moment of?
I've got something written up that I can read when we get to it, but I guess right now I'm just very thankful for everyone, and it's been a great experience to be here, and yeah.
Much appreciated. We'll give you that moment to say some. But with Parker leaving us, we have to prepare for next year, like many of our topics we've got onto the agenda later. I would like Tricia Dieter to announce our board representative for the 2026-2027 school year. I believe she's here and maybe would say a few words to us as well. Tricia?
All right, come on up, Cam.
Come on up.
We'll just let everyone get here, she's in the back. All right, so we have a lot of great students. So this year we're picking a junior. It's hard to believe that she's going to be a junior already. Cam Wazalek, she rose to the top. She is involved, and you'll probably talk about some of this in a lot of aspects at Merrill High School. She's a fantastic student, a fantastic role model. So when this opportunity presented itself, she rose right to the top here. So take it away, Cam.
Hi, I'm Cameron. I'm a sophomore here at Merrill High School. I'm a junior optimist, National Honor Society, Blue JB, Link Crew, mathlete, and I'm incredibly honored to be here today and to be inducted as part of the school board representative, and I can't wait to use my voice on behalf of my classmates and to provide any information needed. So, thank you.
You know, fair warning, Cam, you have to have some material for Eric. Every once in a while, he's going to defend his classmates and show some school spirit, not just on what happens over for activities, so be prepared. He seems to be sitting there quietly now, but be prepared is all I'll say, Cam. Welcome. Without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Parker Wagner and Eric Grunwald to tell us a little bit about what's going on over at the high school.
Yeah, I'll start it off. Bring Your Tractor to School Day was today. Many students participated, and it was a really cool sight to see pulling into school this morning, all the pretty big tractors that were in there. The annual Autobacher track meet was last Friday. 13 teams competed, and the meet ran really smoothly, with boys and girls competing well. The girls 4x4 team won the event, running a season best of 4 minutes and 19 seconds. The prom theme this year was Mamma Mia. Prom participation and attendance was very impressive, and many students and parents showing up to the Grand March. Remington Skick and Abby Krieger, who are both here today, were crowned king and queen. After prom, there was a free bowling sponsored by the Youth Optimists. Free pizza and drinks were provided, and once again, attendance was impressive with around 90 students attended. Link Crew went to PRMS last Friday to meet with the 8th graders and start getting them ready for high school next year. We played icebreakers and got to know the incoming freshmen better. It was very good to see that high schoolers still have it in chicken baseball as we beat the middle schoolers to beat that.
DECA also went to PRMS last Friday to teach students how to create a business or a product and then practice presenting it to investors, which was pretty cool. And tomorrow is the senior walk, where the class of 2026 will visit all of the Merrill elementary and middle schools they attended over the years. We'll get all dressed up in our caps and gowns and see where it all started. Another event for the seniors is Awards Night, which is next Wednesday at 7 p.m. in the auditorium. That's when we'll learn what scholarships and awards we've received from the school and the community. Feel free to come and spend the evening celebrating the class of 2026. And the biggest event for last, graduation. It will be on May 22nd at 6 p.m. in the field house. It includes all the fun traditions, such as performances from the band and choir, speeches from our classmates, the keynote speaker, which is Mrs. Raditz this year, and the turning of the tassels and walking across the stage to receive our diplomas. Finally, I wanted to say thank you. You know, I could take a page from Max's book and say, I'm no Brooke, but I am no Max. So I wanted to say thank you to all of the board members. It's been an honor to come here and share my experiences at Merrill High School with all of you, and I'm sure you all remember little Junior Parker. She was so nervous about speaking in front of everyone, but over the past 2 years, my confidence has grown, and that is thanks to you. Not just here, but in other aspects of my life. I am able to speak to large groups of people and feel confident doing so. I am grateful for this opportunity and the skills that I have gained from it. case you're curious, I will be attending UW Stevens Point for biochemistry next year, and eventually attending pharmacy school at UW-Madison.
She's making that up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, that's so good.
Now we're gonna have to separate those two. No. So thank you both. It's been wonderful having you here, Parker, and your insights. Eric, good to see you too. No, but thank you guys sincerely for sharing everything that goes on over at the high school and putting a youth understanding on that. Because we see policies and numbers and that, but we get to hear how that affects you guys and what that means. So thank you both again. We're gonna move on the agenda to administrative reports. I'm gonna turn it over to Mr. Murray here to talk about any of our administrative reports. Just a reminder that if board members did have any questions, they may have emailed in and got questions answered in advance, but they can always bring them up this evening to put it on the record, so to speak. I believe we'll have a presentation, part of this as well, so turn it over to you, Shannon.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Item A under administrative reports is the Pine River School for Young Learners report, including enrollment numbers, some information on health screenings, USDA meals for students, etc. Mr. Martinovich is here this evening if anybody has any questions for him. Item B is our food service participation report prepared monthly by Laura Krause. That report has our month-to-month participation as well as some board bites information for March and April. If anybody has any questions or comments, I would forward those on to Laura. Item C, is the Director of Pupil Services Special Ed report. Amber Hluska is here this evening. Her report includes some information about outside therapists coming into the schools and the mental health academy, and she is here. Item D is the Tech Department report. Andrew Kaler is here this evening. His report includes some information about the brainstorm conference that he and some of his crew attended recently, as well as summer projects that they'll be working on over the summer in the IT department, a summary of some help desk ticket information, etc. And again, Andrew's here if anybody has any questions or comments. Item E is the Director of Finance report, including the budget update and revenues and expenses, which was shared last week at HR Finance. Mark Powell is not here this evening. He's out of the district, but I can forward on any questions for him if there are any. Item F is the Human Resources report. Heather Soberg is here this evening with us to answer any questions. She shared this information at the HR Finance Committee as well regarding the staff wellness team update. So we know work that they've been doing this year, which has been substantial, so it's great. Item G is the Director of Buildings and Grounds Transportation update. Nick's here. His report, which was shared at HR Finance and at facilities, includes information on summer project proposals, building and grounds updates, and things that he's been working on throughout this summer. In addition to that, we have two guests with us this evening, Brian and Lindsay, if you can come up from CISA 10. In Nick's report, he has some information about the CISA 10 facility study that was done by CISA 10, and they are here to share their findings, kind of as the first step in this process of where we're going with regards to facilities, particularly as it relates to the middle school. So, Lindsay, Brian, I'll turn it over to you guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Shannon. Yes, thank you for having us this evening. My name is Lindsay Schreiner, and I'm a facility advisor for CISA 10.
I'm Brian Atchak. I'm the lead project manager at CISA 10.
So within CISA 10, we have facilities management, and we are the only CISA that does facilities management, which means we can go anywhere in this state and perform these services. So we'll do facility audits and all things related to facilities, environmental health and safety, and things like that. In front of you, you will have a little more information on CISA 10 as well as the full facility audit. All things facility can be a bit boring and overwhelming, so I want to apologize in advance. But if you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to stop us and interject at any time. Just starting out, do you change the slides? You do? Okay. Should I just look at you? Okay, all right,
Just say
cool.
beep. Just say beep.
All right, perfect. So we started doing facilities around 1990. We were going into districts doing a lot of energy management and environmental health and safety, asbestos testing, things like that. Sorry, yeah, go ahead. And we were finding that there were a lot of school districts really being taken advantage of, right? So Shannon and Nick are very busy people, so you might have contractors on site that might be doing things they shouldn't be doing, that type of thing. So that's kind of how we got started, and it grew to where we are today. We serve 200 plus schools annually with all the services that we provide, including facility audits. We have been averaging about one facility audit a week lately, so we're pretty busy. We do construction management and owner's reps, we do referendum planning, and then, like I said, environmental health and safety, and that's gonna be all of your asbestos testing, your lead water testing, radon, all the yucky stuff that nobody likes. Go ahead. So yes, we were brought in as a impartial third party. Again, we're a CISA, so our best interest is what is in your best interest, right? Our goal is to provide you with valuable insights and to know really where your building is at. Do you want to talk a little bit about the process?
Yeah, sure. So, again, we were brought on to do this facility study for you, and I want to lay out how we did that so you understand the process that went through that. So, I signed a group of 5 people that did your assessment. They were boots on the ground here. The professional background ranges from electrical and mechanical engineering, facilities maintenance, and construction management. So we viewed your facility through those lenses, right? We started out here, we sat in this room and we did a kickoff for that effort. A lot of good exchange of why we're doing the audit to where's the main pains, you know. And then from there, it was boots on the ground. We spent, those 5 guys, including myself, spent 2 full days here on site. We opened every door, picked up every, rock and looked under it. There's places in that building that I don't know that, have got eyes on for a while, So we looked at all those things. Along the way, if we saw staff, we asked them questions. Great interaction with the buildings and grounds folks that we were working with there, that had good insight. Pick their brain, those little, pull those little threads and ask some questions, and it opens up things where we need to dig deeper, So after those 2 days of effort, which was separated by a couple of weeks, a month or so there, I guess, because of the weather, we sat down as a group and went through the things that we saw. We had, thousands of pictures we took and notes, and we assembled basically the product that you have in front of you tonight. So. Overall, I'll just say, we're in multiple schools a week. The maintenance crew here does a phenomenal job of taking care of this facility. As we look at this, we want to we identify what needs to be done now and what should be done in the future. So that's what we'll bring forward here tonight.
Yeah, Nick has been an absolute dream to work with, and I can honestly say that you don't always have that in every school district, but he's doing a really good job, and he's very, very easy to work with. I can tell you that when we first kind of got the guts of the information from Nick and Shannon on the building, we were expecting to find a lot worse than we did. And that's a testament to your staff. They've done a really good job keeping up with the Prairie River Middle School. That said, it is old. And like old buildings do, they are going to cost some money to keep up. You can go ahead. Okay, you're going to have probably a little bit of sticker shock. Don't panic. This is not uncommon. Almost every single school district that we go into, the first view is a little shocking and eye-opening. This happens, again, in almost every single school district we go to, and it happens because there isn't money to keep up on the general maintenance of buildings and the annual things that have to happen. And when those things aren't taken care of, it adds up year after year after year, and then you get to the point where you don't really have an option anymore. You have to do something. That said, we have the cost estimates here, and how we break things up is we have different categories. And those categories are all called FIMs. They're facility improvement measures, and we'll kind of get into those a little bit in the following pages. That said, we do break it up by year. So you're going to have your 1 to 2 year needs, which are going to be the most urgent needs. The 3 to 5 year needs, and then the 6 to 10 year needs. Now those are going to be for planning, right? So we can estimate that you are going to need, I'm just throwing an example out, a new roof in the next 8 years. It's probably, with inflation, going to cost this much money. So we throw that in there so you can plan for that, if you can. Unfortunately, districts don't have funds to plan like they need to, but they try. Also on here is a link to the full report, which we can go back to if you guys so wish. I got the pleasure of boring Shannon and Nick with going through the facility audit line by line. If you guys would like to do the same, we absolutely can. Some districts want to, some don't, so it's totally up to you guys. That said, we are looking at about $4.4 million in the 1 to 2 year needs. 3 to 5 year needs is going to be about 16.6, and then the 6 to 10 year needs is 1.729. We do have a standard needs field there as well. That is just needs that can probably be taken care of right away, and they don't necessarily cost anything. And we'll get into those as well, but I think one of them is like snow plowing, pile location, you know, that type of thing. Go ahead.
Couple things to add. So the separation of needs between 1 year and 3 year and 6 year, that's just, you know, our first assessment. You guys can take that and say, no, we really feel this is, you know, you work that however you see fit. That's just our best assessment, right? So be aware of that. The second thing, the costing. So the costing is, you know, rough order of magnitude. We're not going to measure every lineal feet of window or whatever, but we get close, and it gives you a number to work with for budget purposes. You know, as you dive into these things, and you know, you're going to look into the engineering behind certain things. Maybe there's some more content. Oh, if you do this, then you got to do that. You know, and I'll say as well, think about your projects that you approach. Some things go better with each other. So, for instance, if you're going to replace the lights in this ceiling, maybe you replace the tiles as well. So, common sense that way. What else do I got for you? The costs do not include any environmental. Like if we say, you know, got to replace this carpet. You know, we have some history of your building of what you have here for environmental issues, but there could be asbestos under this. We can't see it. We're not going to destructively pick it up and do the testing as part of this. That's not figured in here, and you'll speak to that a little bit more. Also, these are construction costs. They don't include any architect or engineer fees on that as well. You know, so just to be aware.
Yeah. So, yeah, on that note, we do things a little bit different where we only bring in architects and engineers when they're actually needed versus like a whole project cost. That way saves you guys a lot of money. But as Brian was saying with the environmental health and safety, we did provide the facility audit to our environmental health and safety team. They're estimating for the full 1 to 10 year needs, probably an additional around $800,000 just in environmental. Again, depending on how the testing shakes out, that could be higher, could be lower. But just to get you guys a rough estimate.
So Lindsay, you sent me that as a separate memo, and we're talking like lead paint, asbestos.
Yes.
The potential of, is it mercury in our gym floor in there?
Yeah, yep, the gym floor would be a pretty high cost. That was actually a learning experience for myself too. I'd never heard that before. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
I honestly don't know much about it, other than that product, which this is the first time we ever run into it. It has mercury-containing components to it.
Yeah.
And it's like asbestos, there's a process for removal.
Yeah.
You know, there's not, the floor's in good shape, but it's not putting anybody at risk, you know.
Right.
Just it's one of those things you need to follow the EPA, you know, DNR guidelines for removal.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you. So we put together kind of just the top of the 1 to 2 year needs, the top of the 3 to 5, and the top of the 6 to 10. Again, if you have any questions on any of these, we can definitely go through more than just what we have here. But did you want to touch on some of the things?
Sure. So for the first 1 to 2 years, first item here regard to the pipes leaking, the corrosion in the basement. Just recommend replacing those pipes as soon as possible. Again, some of this stuff is holistic. It's all over the place. In some places, it's isolated, where we have things. So we try to get specific in some of these details, but estimated cost there, $20,000. Entrance canopies, there's a handful of doors here, whatever it really is, the finishes on those doors, on those canopies. So we're estimating like $18,000 for taking care of those finishes. And that might be just more of an aesthetic issue, and if you're fine with that, then you move on to the next one, but in time, that's gonna need attention. Asphalt maintenance, there's some maintenance that we feel like the asphalt needs to have done now in order for you to set you up for success for extending the life of that product. You'll see later in our report that we have asphalt replacement because you're only going to get so far with that. But you're going to, if you don't do this maintenance soon, you're going to significantly reduce the life of the asphalt, right? So, so you'll see kind of reoccurring items here in our report, if you will. Cast iron piping, we see this in every school that has it. It's that cast iron piping, it corrodes from the inside. There's fins in there that causes stuff to hang up on it, and in time you see the school having backups and stuff like that. So there's a small area there for we've calculated about $12,500 for removals.
Yeah, and like we were saying before with the cost, some of these things are like placeholders and dollar amounts to look into them more, right? So there could potentially be a higher cost depending on what is found when we look into them more.
So in your main report, there's multiple pages of 1 to 2 years. Our presentation tonight is we're just skimming over these so you can kind of get a feel for what's in the categories. Again, if you want us to go through this and speak more to it, but you'll see mechanical, electrical, civil, roofing needs all addressed here. So don't hesitate to butt in here and ask some questions. But for the moment, we'll jump over to the 3 to 5 year. Again, just to give you a flavor of what's in there. So, so starting out with, we have floor tiles that are cracking and missing. Some of the stuff is very obvious. You walk through it and you see it, and it's like, okay, and then other stuff is hidden a little bit, and you got to dig in to find it. So. There's several windows that are missing some screens, if staff is opening up those windows, you probably want to have some screens in there just to keep hornets and stuff like that out. Restrooms lacking ventilation, so the exhaust fans and ductwork, when that building was built, that wasn't a requirement, but now it probably would be good to get some airflow in that if you're going to continue to use that building. A lot of these are smaller dollar items, but that can be combined into a bigger, decent-sized project for a mechanical or other trades. Let's see, jumping down the bottom here, several classrooms with windowsills that are deteriorating, chipped and stuff. There's some sharp edges on some things. Just simple removing those and replacing them with a phenolic product, $2,400. And then jumping to the 6 to 10 years, roofing. So, and again, scattered in here is some other roofing. Our general philosophy and recommendation for roofing is, there's some farther down the line, you'll see a map, but you don't want to replace your roof on the whole building all at once because that's a huge cost impact, right? So you take it in sections, and we see that you're doing that, right? So you did a chunk a while ago. There was some within a year or two that was done, and then you have some more work to do. So the portion that is TPO or the white, you have several years, at least 6 to 10 left on that. And a normal roof lasts 20 years, or at least that's your warranty on that roof. And you want to start thinking about, gearing up to replace that. So that's why we have this one on there. The asphalt paving, that next one really ties into that playground, so you did the maintenance effort this summer or next summer you did that. But in 6 to 10 years, you're gonna have to pull that thing up, just for tripping hazards and stuff like that, to replace that asphalt. Boys' basement under the locker rooms, in need of some shower upgrades, it looks like. Let's see here. And the lighting fixtures in that space, replacing that. $58,000 and that's the boys' locker room. Terrazzo flooring, we saw quite a bit of terrazzo with a significant wear. Terrazzo is a great flooring product. Back in the day, it was used a ton, but it does wear over time, and we see some repairs in the $35,000 range.
Yeah, so the following pages just go into the guts of what's in the report, right? So you're gonna have your strategic plan, everything in the 1 to 2 year needs is listed there. The 3 to 5 and the 6 to 10. So if those are items you want us to go through line by line, we are more than happy to, but it is totally up to you guys.
It basically represents it in a different visual and gives, so you can see the total cost. It's just a little more condensed, the strategic plans and things.
Yeah.
Are you guys, as you flip through this, I don't know if you got a chance to look at it before, any questions, anything that jumps out at you that you want to talk about? And I think this will be a good tool. We understand that you're looking at, comparing some facilities. This is a good tool to start with to gauge where you're going, and.
Yeah, the next few pages, we just have more pictures of some of the things that we found on site. And then we'll get to the roof overviews.
Yeah, the roofing here, it's, we broke it up into three phases, and that's reflected in the report. The portion in the green is the most recent, that's the TPO, the white portion.
Yep.
Middle section, if I recall correctly, that's the one that was done most recently. And then next up the bat is the area in yellow that needs to get taken care of there. And we talked the other day when we presented this to your admin. There's a big antenna, TV antenna on top of that roof, and when you do that, we fully recommend to get rid of that TV antenna. It's less penetrations in the roof and lightning attractant. Try to keep that away, So, and your roofer will have a crane there, so perfect opportunity.
So thank you for that overview. And I know there's a lot more detail in the report that everybody has in front of them. Specific questions at this time based on what they've just presented or the report itself?
I'd like to comment, it's very comprehensive, so I've seen previous reports that are way less comprehensive and high level. And I think this is actually what we wanted from the experience, was that room by room, closet by closet review of the facility, so thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are here to help, so we're not here to say like, oh, hey, you guys need $25 million of needs, have fun, right? No, we can help you walk through whatever next steps may look like for you guys. That's what we do. So we have obviously some recommendations, but we're all ears and we'll be here when you need us.
Yeah. So as the board knows, this is kind of the first step in a bigger discussion. And so we, we're kind of chatting about, how to proceed with this. And I think we should have this as an agenda item in HR Finance next month and kind of keep this conversation going and maybe even include a special facilities meeting coming forward, because essentially the question is, do you stick the money into it or not? And if not, what are the alternatives and those kind of things? And so Kevin and I were talking, this might be a good a good opportunity for a little more in-depth discussion at our board admin retreat to kind of keep that going. There will come a time where we have to kind of ascertain what our options are, both with that building and without. And so that could include, and I've shared this with anybody that I've talked to, the potential of a 6-12 high school or a 7-12 high school, whatever space affords, because we have a lot of space at the middle school currently, a lot of space at the high school, which would be a separate study, which CISA could engage us, or we could engage CISA in that activity. And then somewhere along the way, of course, we might have to get community involved, advisory committees or however that goes. And so I think my recommendation is, because there's a lot to kind of go through here, I would kind of let people chew on this for a couple weeks, bring it back to those committees, kind of wrestle with this conceptually over the summer, and then figure out those next bigger steps, because there is a clock ticking, as we saw. We can afford the one-year plan now. After that, it's foggy.
Or we could save it.
Or we could save it, yes, that is true. So, and you know, so we've had this discussion, Nick and I, it's like, this thing happens at the middle school, do you fix it? Knowing full well that might be flushing good money, you know, and I mean, that's just the reality of where we're at, so. So I appreciate what CISA 10 has done. I think it's been unbiased and objective and thorough and everything we've asked for, as John said. And I appreciate that there's no agenda there. That's been helpful, so that's been good. And I think it's a great first step for us in that I'm assuming this summer I'll be bringing to the board the potential to re-engage CISA in a high school study, that how do you make that a 6-12, 7-12 building without, we all know that we can't spend $50 million to do that, so, or 20, or whatever it is. So that'll probably be a step in the near future.
Yeah. Awesome. I think it'd be good too, I was just thinking about this, to take a look at even the like electrical, the yearly costs of both buildings, right? And what that could potentially save as well.
Good point. Very good point.
That's kind of what, one of my initial thoughts is obviously this is a piece of a very large puzzle. Because when we're talking about movement of grade levels and things, that's a long-term 20 to 40-year commitment of a community. So you wouldn't want a building to drive that, because it's just a building. So you'd want to drive that philosophically and what would be in the best interest of education in Merrill. And then if the building fits, great. If not, go the other direction. But the facility itself can't necessarily be the driver of the philosophy. But then the board, or like at least myself, would want to know, like, what does that look like to the student's experience, to the teacher's experience? Because you would be changing a trajectory from that point forward, so to speak. So to me, it's like when I hear strategic plan, we went through that process of creating a strategic plan and updating it. But now we're talking almost like the next level strategic plan, where we might not even be around for the majority of what the experience is moving forward. But it will kind of change the course of history in Merrill education, whatever's decided. We're never going to come up with $24 million to fix the building. That's my initial gut feeling. So it just seems like this is telling us to move with that more higher philosophical discussion to see where Merrill goes in years to come.
We had a little sampling of that discussion when we met previously about what would that look like in the building with regard to student separation of students and flows of students and use of the facilities or optimization of the facilities in that setting. So I can see that phase coming pretty soon.
Yeah.
And if you think about our previous experiences in the last 5 years, we've been shuffling and we've been modifying and, dare I say the word, cobbling at times. Like we should get done with it at some point. you know, like, this is where the high school and the middle school are gonna be for the next 30 years. And the central office, and the NAC, and MATA, and get it all wrapped up in one point, at least for a board, then we can at least say it's been presented to the community, so that we can in good conscience say that's either been accepted or rejected, but we did the best shot we could to get it in a trajectory that's not constantly being modified. At least that's what Flighty Brain's thinking.
You guys are not alone. There's so many communities that have lots of extra space in their building. It's like, we're wasting money by not utilizing all this space. You know what, you got a tough decision.
Yeah.
Can you tell us the part again, like you told us last week, about how other people have worse facilities?
They do.
It's amazing.
They do. They do have worse facilities, yes, absolutely. They also don't have as awesome staff. So you do have a lot of good things going here. Your students are awesome. I mean, how well spoken were they? That is super cool to see. Yeah, it's a fun place for us to come. We definitely enjoy it, and you have a lot of good things going, and we will help you continue that.
Appreciate you guys' work. Thank you very
Yeah,
much for coming.
absolutely. And as you take time to look through this madness, we're more than happy to come back and answer any questions if that's what you guys decide.
Yeah.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, sure.
And then the last item under administrator reports is superintendent's report, and in that report I talked about, as Parker pointed out, we got some big events coming up starting Friday is the BBA graduation at 6 o'clock, and she had mentioned senior awards night and graduation, so we're looking forward to that. Boy, the end of the year's coming fast, and that, maybe because Memorial Day's so early or something, it just is fast. And then I mentioned some of the things that we're doing as far as planning and preparing for next year. Tomorrow night, we will meet with our SIP teams, which are the building level continuous improving teams, with our SAIL group. This is our last year with SAIL. It was a 2-year academy. We went 3. We're not sure if it was the remedial plan or the PhD program, but we're done with them now, or they're done with us maybe. So that we got to go on our own. And but we are going to stick with the fidelity of the SAIL model and follow those processes moving forward. But we are going to formally bring in the continuous improvement teams from the buildings to engage them more. And so we met with them once early in the school year. Tomorrow we go through accomplishments of the year, as well as the SAIL process that we're going to keep following. June 8th, we have a retreat with just the administrators about keeping the SAIL work going, which is our school improvement work going. The next day, the continuous improvement teams join us, and we will come up with our plan moving forward for the school year, which of course it's our strategic plan, drives the annual plan, drives the 100-day plans, that's the model. So we're looking forward to that work. Some other things that have popped up that I just want to kind of share with you. Our ACT scores this year were down a bit, followed very closely by the state being down a bit, followed very closely by the nation being down a bit. And so some states started asking some questions of ACT and found out that they changed their scoring and how they figured stuff out, including omitting science is no longer part of the factor. And so the states are giving ACT some significant pushback as far as the validity of those scores and the impact and all that means to kids. And so I was on a call with DPI earlier today, but ACT came out with a statement that they're, what's the word, wiping scores, or Amanda? Recalculating scores, and they're gonna come up with new scores, whatever.
Well,
that
they're
means.
not gonna go down, slightly go up, and
Yeah.
it was anyone that took the ACT during the school day online, which all of our students.
Yeah. So I share that because you might hear that, and that's been one of our frustrations, is the inconsistency of the testing and the measures and all those kind of things. But and ACT has been kind of immune to that until now. So I had to share that with you. The state is meeting, of course, to go through the budget settlement agreement, I guess is the best way to say that. And when we built our budget for the 26-27 school year, we talked about the potential of the state coming through on special ed at 42 and 46%, and kind of banked on that happening. That looks like that's going to happen, and then some. And so once we get that final information back, Mark's going to do some math as far as what we projected and that actual number, and we think it feels like it won't be a fund balance dip next year, which is great. We kind of took a calculated risk on that, it paid off. But we'll get you some more information on actual numbers and what that looks like, should that come to fruition. It seems like it's trending very, very favorably. And maybe it happens, it's 2 o'clock today, I don't know. Haven't heard that. Pardon?
I didn't see it yet.
And then finally, just an update, the photo news will run information regarding our board vacancy in that process this week and next. This week, we'll start with the social media and the letters to the families. And so stay tuned on that. And then Eric mentioned that the tractor, bring your tractor to work today, or bring your tractor to school day. We also had our house moved today. So there's giant cranes out there. They moved the building construction house. Our building construction class built it for the Habitat for Humanity in Wausau. That's who our new arrangement is with. So they took it apart, put it on 2 flatbeds, and had it set on its foundation by, I think, 11:30 this morning, which was pretty impressive. So that happened today. So a lot going on at the high school this morning. But that's all I got. If anybody has any questions on anything else. All right. Thanks, Ken.
All right, thank you, Shannon. Next on our agenda is committee reports. We'll start with board membership committee appointments for 2026, 2027, and a description of the committees. I'm not going to read that all to you. I did make the committee appointments as president for the board per the bylaw 0155. Shannon assigns or appoints people to those outside of the board members, and we have a document that Tammy keeps track of that also describes what the functionality of each committee is. It goes through kind of the purpose and the meeting dates and the complete membership from board members to administration. You're not going to see a lot of changes there, a couple things in flight. It's not someone's initials in curriculum, technology, pupil services, a TPD, to be determined. I left a spot or a placeholder for anyone that may be joining us on filling the vacancy. In the meantime, myself, or I'll ask John or Paul or someone to sit in on that. So puts a little pressure on Amber, Jacqueline, and Brett, but we'll make our way through it. Something else we're looking into, Shannon and myself, this last year, we've merged the safety committee. Instead of meeting during the school day, we brought that on board with facilities. It was a facilities subcommittee. It's going to meet at the same time, and we'll define what that looks like. And we have some people that we invite, and we'll probably, instead of inviting them every meeting, just invite them as needed. And Amber or Nick or Shannon will report in the meantime as to what progress is being made on those topics. So we're not wasting their time or having them come in with nothing on the agenda, so to speak. So any questions on that? Otherwise, there is a recommended motion for that approval per the bylaw. Any board member? Paul?
I move to approve the appointments made by the superintendent for committee membership of the 26-27 school year.
We have a motion by Paul. Do we have a second? Second by Mike. Any discussion or questions on the motion or this agenda item? Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next on the agenda is a recap of the facilities committee. Attached for the draft minutes from the May 6th committee meeting. Myself as chair and other members of our facilities committee are here for board member questions. Any board members have specific questions for our facilities committee? John?
I don't have a question, but I have a comment. I think I'd like to recognize Nick tonight, because I was listening to CISA 10, and the number of compliments they gave you and your staff. That's a significant thing coming from an outside entity coming in, so I think it deserves at least a shout out to you and your team. Thanks.
Thank you, John.
Tammy wants to clap, so.
I'm not gonna get away with that.
I don't blame you. Any questions for our facilities committee? Otherwise, we're going to move on to our Finance Human Resources Committee. The attached draft minutes from our May 6th meeting were provided for our review. John Smith as chair, and other members of our Finance Human Resources Committee are available for questions. Any questions for our Finance Human Resources Committee members? Any questions? Seeing or hearing none, we'll move it to the Curriculum Technology Pupil Services Committee. Attached were the draft minutes from the May 6th committee meeting. I was the acting chair for that meeting, and other members from our CTP committee are available as well. Any questions for our CTP committee? Hearing none, we'll move on the agenda. We have nothing categorized currently as unfinished business, so we'll move to Board of Education business, and we'll start with the approval of Head Start State Grant Supplemental Funds. Topic summary sheet was provided by Ryan Martinovich, and there is a recommended motion if anyone's willing to make a motion on this agenda item. Nubs?
I move to approve the 2026-2027 application for the State Head Start Supplemental Fund.
We have a motion by Nubs. Do we have a second? Second by Brett. Any discussion or questions in regards to this motion or agenda item? Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed, say nay. Do we have any abstentions? Motion carries. Next item on our agenda is the approval of the 2026-2027 MATA, Merrill Adult Diploma Academy calendar. Topic summary sheet was provided by Tricia Dietert, and a recommended motion came from our CTP committee. Anyone willing to make a motion in regards to this agenda item? Paul?
I move to approve the 2026-2027 MATA calendar.
Motion by Paul. Do we have a second? Second by Mike. Any discussion or questions in regards to this agenda item or its corresponding motion? Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next agenda item is approval of open enrollment applications. Attached is a memo from Amber Luska. Let's do two separate motions if we could. Isn't that easier, Tammy, versus doing them together? CTP committee recommended two separate motions, so if someone on the board is willing to make the first motion. Mike?
Motion to approve the 341 new students open enrolling to MAPS, and also approve the 592 open enrolled students continuing at MAPS.
Motion by Mike and a second by Amber. Any discussion or questions in regards to that motion on this agenda item? Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Motion carries. There is a second motion for this agenda item. Anyone willing to make that motion? Mike?
Motion to approve the 42 new students indicating open enrollment out of MAPS, and also approve the 201 open enrolled students continuing to be open enrolled out of MAPS.
Motion by Mike. Do we have a second? Second by Amber. Any discussion or questions in regards to this portion of the agenda item or its corresponding motion? John?
Is the numbers being so significant, is that related to Bridges Virtual
Yeah.
Academy?
Yep. So of the open enrolled, you can figure about 700 of those are paid six.
Just as course of business
Yeah.
of holding a virtual academy, and the public doesn't see that we have big
Yeah.
droves of people leaving and coming.
Yep.
Any other discussion or questions in regards to the motion or agenda item? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next item on our agenda is the physical education credit for participating in sports or athletics. Attached was a topic summary sheet from high school principal Tricia Dieter. Recommendation came from our CTP committee. Anyone willing to make a motion on this agenda item? Mike?
Motion to approve the implementation of awarding .5 physical education credit for students who successfully complete 2 seasons of WIAA-sponsored athletics beginning with the 2026-2027 school year with administrative guidelines developed by Merrill High School administration.
We have a motion by Mike. Do we have a second? Second by Amber. Any discussion or questions in regards to this agenda item or corresponding motion? Paul, go ahead.
Does this preclude these athletes from going to Fayette if they want to go to Fayette? They can still go? Okay.
And we can have further discussion on this later, but I think it would be nice to track, and I don't know how difficult that would be, but how many people, student athletes, are eligible, and then how many are taking advantage of that, because I think we can have discussion, but we really don't know if that's going to be 5% or 95% that are going to do this. I enjoyed physical education and being a leader and getting an A in PE, but others don't. So we'll have to come up with a plan and give you some guidance on that.
Should
But
be
I
easy
think
to
it would
track
be,
with the paperwork that they have to filter people to apply or do it.
we'll know who's doing that, but then we'll come back to figure out how big was the pool of what could have been 100%. So any additional discussion or questions on this agenda item?
Are you looking for a semester update or like a year update?
I'm
End of year, probably.
I'm thinking end of year is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
second season's gonna roll, so we wouldn't know until the end of the year.
Yep.
No, that's fair. I think just something that we can baseline year after year, so whatever it is, be consistent with how we're doing that. We'll appreciate that data. Thank you. Any additional discussion or clarifying questions on this agenda item or motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next on our agenda is the VMware license renewal. Topic summary sheet was provided by Andrew Kaler. Recommended motion from our CTP committee. Anyone willing to make a motion on this agenda item? Nubs?
I move to approve the VMware license renewal for a total of $10,933 to be paid from the technology budget.
We have a motion by Nubs, and we have a second by Paul. Any discussion or questions on this agenda item or corresponding motion? Any discussion or questions in regards to this agenda item or corresponding motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed, say nay. Do we have any abstentions? Motion carries. Next item on our agenda is the 2026 student device refresh. Attached was a topic summary sheet from Andrew Kaler. Recommended motion from our CTP committee. Do we have a board member willing to make a motion in regards to this agenda item? Mike?
Motion to approve the 2026 student device refresh for a total of $167,995 to be paid from the technology budget.
We have a motion by Mike. Do we have a second? Second by Amber. Any questions or discussions in regards to this agenda item or corresponding motion? I think one of the highlights there that Andrew shared at the committee was the tiered approach and not waiting for a number of years to have to refresh every device. So we're trying to do this also from a workload, but a financial standpoint is to get them done strategically. So he did outline in there which grades and which devices would be refreshed accordingly to that plan. Any other discussion or questions in regards to this agenda item or corresponding motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next item on our agenda is approval of the revised high school athletic coaching stipend structure for 2026-2027. Topic summary sheet was provided by Chris Hahn, and our Finance Human Resource Committee recommends a motion. Anyone willing to make a motion? Paul?
I move to approve the revised middle school athletic coaching stipend structure and staff expansion effective 2026-2027.
We're on the high school one now, if we can do that.
I'm sorry.
Not a problem.
Motion to approve the revised high school athletic coaching stipend structure effective 2026-2027.
Thank you, Paul. We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second by Brett. Any discussion or questions in regards to this agenda item or topic? Corresponding motion? John?
I'd just like to say for the record that it's, especially in light of our reductions of cost this year, that it's a negative $1,800 realignment and reallocation. Just so when you see, if the public were to see staffing realignment and salaries and such, that it doesn't give the impression that they went up, or that it's actually a cost savings maneuver and not a spending maneuver, which was discussed at committee, but for the record.
We can also include that hockey additions are all part of that too, so it would have been significantly higher if we just went with status quo.
Okay, so overall, the whole thing was a net negative, venture.
Technically should have been.
Right, right.
Go ahead,
And
Sean.
I'll just recognize Chris because the thoughtfulness of this process that you went through and the length of season, the number of kids, and, you know, I mean, for the first time in a long time, we have one that's based, I don't want to say on logic because that's not fair to the previous ones, but there certainly is a method to this one that we can roll forward and understand and use as a guide. So thank you for that work on that as well.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for pointing that out, Shannon. Any other discussion or questions on this agenda item or corresponding motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Do we have any abstentions? Motion carries. Next on our agenda is the approval of the revised middle school athletic coaching stipend structure and staff expansion for 2026-2027. Chris Hahn also produced that topic summary sheet that was presented at Finance HR, and we brought forward a recommended motion. Anyone willing to make a motion on this agenda item? Mike?
Motion to approve the revised middle school athletic coaching stipend structure and staff expansion effective 2026-2027.
A motion by Mike. Do we have a second? Second by John. Any discussion or questions in regards to this agenda item or its corresponding motion? Any highlights there? I think a lot of the same work went into it once you start on looking at a formula for people attending and utilizing our student athletes in each one of our sports, that you put together a formula and while on a roll, continue, right? So thank you also for that, Chris. Any additional discussion or questions on this agenda item or its corresponding motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next item on our agenda is the activities and assistant principal role consolidation. The topic summary sheet was provided by Heather Soberg. There was a recommended motion from our Finance Human Resources Committee. Anyone on the board willing to make a motion on this agenda item? Mike?
Motion for the creation of consolidated activities director / Merrill High School assistant principal position on a 260-day contract effective for the 2026-2027 school year, including all corresponding updates to the administrator compensation plan.
Motion by Mike. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Paul. Any discussion or questions in regards to this agenda item or corresponding motion? Any discussion or questions in regards to this agenda item or its corresponding motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next item on our agenda is the Merrill Special Olympic Booster Club donation for Special Needs Prom. Attached was a donation form and cover memo. Due to the fact that this donation is over the $2,500 limit set in policy 7230, this donation comes to the board separately for approval, and there is a recommendation for a motion. Anyone willing to make a motion? Nubs?
I move to approve the donation of funds from the Merrill Special Olympic Booster Club valued at $2,500 for Special Olympics.
We have a motion by Nubs. Do we have a second? Second by Amber. Any discussion or questions in regards to this agenda item or corresponding motion? Certainly thank you to our Booster Club for that donation and all your hard work that goes into that. Any additional discussion or questions in regards to the motion or agenda item? Hearing none, all those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. I will ask at this time if anyone would want anything pulled from the consent agenda to be dealt with individually. Otherwise, I would ask for a motion for consent agenda. Mike?
Motion to approve consent agenda items A through D, which includes minutes of the April 15th, 2026, April 27th, 2026, and May 6th, 2026 meetings, claims, vouchers, and receipts totaling $2,837,105.69, donations totaling $215, and the attached personal report contingent upon release of contract for hirings upon the satisfaction of the appropriate liquidated damages for resignations, if relevant.
We have a motion by Mike. Do we have a second? We have a second by Paul. All those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Do we have any abstentions?
I'll abstain from the April 27th minutes.
Thank you, Amber. Jacqueline?
Abstain from May 6th.
Motion carries with the two noted abstentions. Thank you. Next on our agenda is items for future meetings. We have a placeholder here. If any board members have any suggestions for either bringing things to committees, the regular board meetings, or the board admin workshop or retreat, certainly mention that now. Go ahead.
Might I suggest we take off the second one, length of administrative contracts? That was essentially addressed by the combination of the AP, AD role. That's what that was about.
I believe we have that handled. Any board members have anything else that they would like to state now? Otherwise, we would move on. Certainly, you can contact Shannon or myself for any additional items for future meetings, be it, as I stated, committee meetings, regular board meetings, or board admin retreat. Reminder, tomorrow, regularly scheduled Thursday radio program that MAPS is a part of. Shannon and I will highlight tonight's board meeting approximately 8:15 a.m. Blue Jay 730 radio. Some future meetings. School Forest Advisory meets next on Monday, May 18th, 4 p.m. out of the Nels Pieview School Forest. Our Curriculum Technology Pupil Services Committee next meets on Wednesday, June 10th, 4:30 p.m. here in the boardroom. Finance Human Resources Committee meets after that on Wednesday, June 10th, no sooner than a 5 p.m. start here in the boardroom. Bridges Virtual Academy Governance Board meeting is Thursday, June 11th, 12:45 p.m. They meet virtually. Next regularly scheduled board meeting is Wednesday, June 17th, 5:30 p.m. here in the boardroom. We had some highlights earlier, and just the reminders of Bridges Virtual Academy has their graduation this Friday. Next week on Wednesday is the awards or scholarship celebration for graduating seniors. And then we will, a week from Friday, will be commencement. So a lot of exciting things happening there. Next, I will go through and read the contemplated motion to adjourn into executive closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statutes under section 19.85, paren 1, paren F, considering financial, medical, social, or personal histories or disciplinary data of specific persons, preliminary consideration of specific personnel problems, or the investigation of charges against specific persons except where paren B applies, which if discussed in public would be likely to have a substantial adverse effect upon the reputation of any person referred to in such histories or data or involved in such problems or investigations. The purpose of the closed session is to consider and act upon parental requests for student opt-out of state assessments, including the potential for a closed session to review the specifics applicable to the affected student or students if the discussion of such an open session be likely to have an adverse effect upon the reputation of such student or students pursuant to that section 19.85, paren 1, paren F of Wisconsin statutes. Any such closed session would be immediately followed by reconvening into open session for further consideration and ultimately action upon the parental request. Anyone willing to make that motion this evening? John? Do we have a second? Second by Amber. Do we have a roll call on that, please, Tammy?
Jacqueline Gremler.
Aye.
Mike Cornisher.
Aye.
Paul Hill.
Aye.
John Smith.
Aye.
Brett Lauer.
Aye.
Nancy Ashbeck.
Aye.
Amber DeRizzo.
Aye.
Kevin Blake.
Aye. All right, at this time, we're going to secure the room for closed session. Thank you all who was present.